first service, I'm about as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Have to come in here and talk to a bunch of, church people that don't do nothing wrong now. If I was in a room full of alcoholics and addicts, I'd be at home, but out here, I'm not. I'm going to change up just a little bit because my little buddy, I met me a new buddy over here, man, to go Serenity, and she's wanting to go to children's church, so Wanda's going to take you, but I need her to come up here for a minute. Just want to show y'all something. This is my new buddy, Serenity. What grade you tell me he's going in? Third grade. You know what? Right now, the national average is that's got to do with her grade. That's the average age kids are getting introduced to hard drugs. It's third grade. Hard drugs, folks. I'm not talking about sniffing glue or whatever. But I just wanted to see what it is. We need to be praying for them and talking to them as soon as they're born. I mean, as soon as they can talk, start talking. Because there's an epidemic out there. I don't know if y'all know it or not. But and I'll say this, Washington County don't believe it because they said it, but they're denying it. We tried to do a prayer walk over here last year, and they said we don't have a drug problem in Washington County. They're fooled. There's a big drug problem over here. It's all over Southwest Virginia, United States, and everywhere. Third grade, hard drugs. And that's the national statistic. That ain't one I made up. I might make one up to sound good, but that ain't it. They taught me that in substance abuse counseling, which I didn't make it long in, but anyway. I'll do things a little bit different today. What I'll do is give you a little bit of my testimony, talk about some of the folks we've met through the ministry, and tell you a little bit about where we're trying to go to, where we feel like God's leading us. It was easy this morning because I guess I'll just have to look at Larry. Over where Larry's at, there was a bunch of big burly looking ugly fellers that I could look at, so you're it, Larry. I'll have to look at you. Yeah, Michael come up here. He rides with us. And a little bit about me is I grew up over in Lebanon. My mom and dad wasn't a Christian home. My mom and dad's ideal of church was that Sunday mornings take us down to Crossroads Church and drop us off. Come back 30 minutes later after Sunday school was over and pick us up. And that was our church for the week. And when I got up about 14 years old, that ended my church-going career. I always figured you was born, you died, and you got a dash, and you do. Everybody does. You're born, you died, and you get a little dash on your tombstone. And that's what it's all about. What are you going to do with that dash? And for 37 years, I did not do much with my dash. I mean, it was not good. It always kills me. People say, well, that person, they're out there and they're on the drugs and they're on the alcohol and their life's just horrible. They can't stand it. I say bullpuckies. I enjoyed it for a long time. I'd be sitting up here lying to you if I didn't, and that's one of the big 10. But I enjoyed it, and it's fun till it takes over. And it will take over. And when it becomes more of a habit, that's when it gets bad, So, but I didn't, my thing was, I never had the problem of alcohol because I didn't want alcohol. I had seen it in my family growing up. My dad's alcoholic. I've seen the house get tore all to pieces with the pipes and stuff broke up and everything. So I chose not to do alcohol. It didn't bother me to do anything else. I just didn't want to do alcohol. Well, I started working construction when I was 18, and we were doing a job down Tennessee Eastman, and every day on the way home, the guy I'd ride with would always buy a 12-pack, and I would buy a Mountain Dew, and he'd always offer me a beer. And I said, "No, man, I don't drink." One day we were riding home, and he said, "You sure you don't want one of these?" And I said, "Yeah, let me try one." It's about 200 degrees. We've been pulling wire all day long, and that's what it took, was me trying that first one, and it took me into 19 years of spiral of alcoholism. I don't stand up here to brag about how much I drank. I'll stand up here and brag about what God can take away from you. Because if he took it away from me, he can take it away from anybody. Whatever it is, society wants to say it's drugs, it's alcohol. It's not. I told Don this morning, nothing personal, but caffeine-free Diet Coke can be an addiction. Too many shoes can be an addiction. Anything. Huh? Caffeine, the shoes, too many shoes Too many shoes can be an addiction. Wanda, did you hear that? Denial. It's the first step. Denial. She's on the way to recovery. But society says it's drugs and alcohol. Then we need to be out there with the people that does the drugs and alcohol. Because you go out here and hug an alcoholic or a drug addict don't mean you're going to become one. It just shows them that you love them. You got to go out here and love on people. Like I said, mine went 19 years. I've quit thousands of times. Started back thousands and one time. I always started back. I had all kinds of reasons to quit. I had better reasons to start back. I could tell you all kinds of stories, but I won't tell but one. And that was, I write everything down. Y'all can see I put my dates on my arm. And I ain't got this new tattoo yet, but when I get it, there'll be a checkered flag right there, because it's the night Ernie Irvan won his first race. He won in Bristol on August 25th, 1990. That's when he won, and I don't remember that day. We had a party at Coke, and I couldn't tell you anything about that day. Blacked out, but about 2 days later, 3 days later, I'm riding down the road with Tristan Brandon was in there with me and my ex-wife, and she said, my daughter Trista sitting back there, she said, Daddy, do me like you did when you was funny. She was 5 years old. I said, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, the other day when you was funny, said, do me like you did. And I said, girl, I don't really know what you mean. And my ex-wife said, hang her out the truck window. We're driving down the road and I'm hanging her out the truck window. She's laughing and my son's laughing. He's 2, and I'm trying to figure out how to undo his car seat, but I couldn't get it undone to hang him out the window. If I'd have dropped her and killed her, I'd have never known it till I sobered up the next day. I thank God I don't remember it, but there's a lot of stuff I don't remember that I did, that I know I did. I know I did that. She don't remember it, and I thank God for that. But so I went home that day when she told me that, and I poured it all out. I didn't set it to the side. I poured it out. I said, that's it, no more. I made it 5 months and 9 days, and I started over. We always find a reason to start back over, seems like. Had a lot of death in my family. My mom called me in November of '88, said she was sick. I came in to see her the first time, I came in from Charlotte that next month right at Christmas to see her. I walk in and I told her, I said, get uptown, let's ride out town, because my dad told me to go get her up. And when I told her, she said, oh, you don't want to be seen with me? And I said, why not? And she had a do-rag on and she pulled it off and she was bald. She had cancer, but she hadn't told me. 4 months later, she was gone. She died March 15th of '89. 4 years later, I spent Christmas morning in the funeral home making arrangements for my dad's funeral. So I began to hate the month of December and drink really bad in December. She used to get on to me. She said, I don't know why you're so bad. You're nice drunk 11 months out of the year. I said, because you don't understand. But God is so much smarter than we are and can take a month that's so bad or a date that's so bad and turn it around. March the March the 16th of '99, I ended up in the counselor's office with Trista and her mom and the counselor, and we're in a big, huge fight because Trista wanted to go home and live with me. Her and her stepdad didn't get along. There were some issues there and stuff. And her mom saying, and that girl, as far back as I can remember, 4 or 5 years old, Dad, I'm praying for you because I want you to quit drinking and I want you to get, don't go to hell. And I said, girl, don't worry about Dad. Dad's just fine. And I had done decided I'm not going to quit drinking. This is my life. I'm going to work. I'm going to drink. That's what I do. But we sat in the counselor's office that day, and she said, and they was talking, and Sam said, Kathy, let her go home with him for Christmas break. She said, no, she's not going home with him. Well, let her go home with him just for the weekend. Let this thing blow over. And she said, it ain't happening. And I was leaned up against the wall in a little chair, and I just thought to myself, I said, man, I don't know if you're real. I don't know if you're up there or not, but if you are, you need to soften this woman's heart. And the very second that I thought that, Sam said, Kathy, just let her go home for the weekend. That was December 16th of 99, a Thursday. She walked out the door with me. Never went back. I got custody of her in March without a fight. But Sunday the 19th, old Dad went to church that morning. Sat on the back row, but I went. And when they gave him the invitation, I grabbed Wanda and we ran down the aisle. And she was on the second pew and about broke her neck trying to get out. Because she knew Dad wasn't going to hell no more. See, I got it took care of Thursday in the counselor's office. It don't matter where you at. People think you got to be in the church on the altar. No, it can be in a bathroom. It can be anywhere. But she about broke her neck trying to get up there. And why I went up there was to pray. And I said, look, man, because I just talked to God like he's my best friend. I said, look, I can't quit this alcohol thing. I've been doing it 19 years. I cannot quit it. I've tried and I've tried. And I give it to him. Then he took it. See, we always say we want God to take it away from us. No, you got to give it to him. And then he'll take it. And if I live to the 19th day of December this year, I'll be sober 17 years. So I know what he can do. I've seen him do it. So, and I've seen him do it on a lot of people. Tongue gets stuck to the top of my throat sometimes. I get so dry. But you sit and look, and like I said, this little girl here was in third grade, and to know where they get most of the stuff at, the small kid, well, a lot of people, you know where they get their drugs from? From you, because you've got them in the medicine cabinet. If you've got narcotics in your medicine cabinet, get them out, hide them. Because that's where they get them. They're accessible. You don't count your pills. You don't know what gets gone. They could take a few and you never know it. But that's where a lot of people get them from. And you say, well, I don't have them. Well, I don't know who's in here and what you're going through. I know everybody sitting in this room's got an addiction. It may not be drugs. It may not be alcohol, but it's something. But maybe you've had a wisdom tooth cut out 3 years ago. And you're still on Percocet. It's called an addiction. Or you got you legitimately got a bad back, and you get your prescription the first of the month, and at the 5th you're out town looking for some pills. It's called an addiction. You need help. You need Jesus Christ to take that away from you, because he can do it if you'll give it to him, and we got to give it to him. We've seen God, like I said, we've seen God do some amazing things, and right when you're thinking, well, am I doing anything? We have a day like yesterday. We was walking through Bonanza over in Lebanon. We've been on a motorcycle ride and went up and prayed with the Tazewell County Police Department. Came back and this girl comes running up to us in Bonanza and said, remember us? I'm sorry, I really don't. So we see a lot of people. She said, 3.5 years ago, y'all come into the Laurels and y'all introduced us to Jesus, and we've been clean 3.5 years. So that's why we do what we do, because somebody comes up and says, hey, I appreciate what you do. And they are appreciative. We've seen a lot of folks that's, and yeah, sometimes they'll hiccup. I don't say relapse, I say people hiccup. When they hiccup, don't stand there and say, I knew you'd do it. It's just a matter of time. No. You made it 3 years. You made it 3 days. Let's go for 4 days. Come around and love on them. And I know it's hard to do when they done took everything you got and sold it. Because that's what they'll do. They'll sell everything they own, then they'll sell everything you own. And it gets hard, but they still deserve it. None of us deserve to be forgiven. Jesus shouldn't have never came for any of us, but he did. So if he came for one, he came for everybody. It don't matter what you do, he came for you. So, we just need to love on them, Trust them? Ain't wants to go that far. I'll be honest with you. Every addict's got one thing in common, and Darius can tell you what it is. They're liars. True. They are. Every addict's a liar. But they're still a human being. They're not those people, them people, you people. They're still one of God's people. So we just need to love on them. And because I hear that a lot, you people, or them people, or I can't believe you mess with them people. Somebody messed with this person. I had a lady, one of the reasons we do what we do was there was a couple in South Carolina that rode motorcycles, and for years they kept trying to get us to join CMA, Christian Motorcycle Association. And we said, no, we don't even own a motorcycle. It don't matter. We started watching this couple, and just over them and some of the other ones in the CMA, we joined it without a motorcycle. And this lady was amazing. She come up to me at Walmart, and I'd never have me come up to Walmart and start talking to God to me in the middle of Walmart. And I'm thinking, are you crazy, woman? What is your problem? Come up do that. She went home yesterday. 3:10 yesterday afternoon, she passed away. I guarantee you there was some shouting going on when she went through the gates. She's why we got started. So I ask you to pray for the Liggett family. Pray for us, because they was we called her mom and dad, just to call her grandma. That family's that special to us, so we ask for prayer for them. But like I said, we've seen God do some things. We went up to Kentucky to do a revival a couple years ago. They told me they wanted me to go talk to a 16-year-old boy that had got busted for some pot. I went over to talk to him, and while I was talking to him, Wanda and Gail got talking to his mom, and next thing I know, the mom comes out of the house and she's got a bottle of pills like that. And I figured it was the boys she'd found. No, it was mom's. She's taking 25, 30 pills a day. Prescribed, so she was okay. She couldn't see the front porch. She was so high. And that little boy says, well, you don't know how many times I've had to carry her and put her in the bed, or I've watched her have sex with 5 or 6 guys for pills. He's 16 years old. Wonder why he's smoking a little bit of dope. Not saying it's a good thing, but he's just trying to calm himself down a little bit maybe. But mom, she went off to rehab, made it a week. Hiccup, come back, then she decided, Wanda kept in touch with her. She decided to get serious. Now she's year and a half clean, and keeps up with us all the time. So she got it. We were in Ohio, and one part I didn't tell in the early service, we met a couple, while I was in Ohio with Rocky and Gail doing a revival, a young man, 30 years old, overdosed. Now, he wasn't ready, but his family was. And I started telling them about this Living Fairy material we do on Thursday nights in Bristol. And it's sort of like a AA or NA, it's Christian based. And I started telling them about that. Well, October, we're going back to Ohio to teach that church how to teach the classes. They've asked us to come back to Ohio and do that. So God will take whatever it is and turn it around. Had a guy, Mikey, over in Clintwood, that he told us, he said, when we met him, he said, I will spend the rest of my life in prison. I'm just waiting on them to violate me. He said, I can't do it. I said, no, you can't do it. But God can if you'll let him. And we told him about Jesus, and he is now the facilitator of the NA meetings in Dickson County. He runs NA in Dickson County. So once again, you let God get a hold of it, no matter what it is, and he can take care of it. My favorite story in the world is about a guy named Butch. My phone rang at 3:30 one morning, and I always give people cards and say, call me anytime. Well, 3:30 one morning, my phone rang, and I answered it. And when I answered the phone at 3:30 in the morning, I do not know that I talked to you. It's just plain and simple. I'm asleep. I don't know it. I talked to this guy for about 10 minutes, got up, went to the living room, talked to him 5 more, come back to bed. Wanda said, who was that? I said, I ain't got a clue. Well, what was his name? I said, I don't know. Well, what did he want? I don't know. What did he say? I don't know. What did you say to him? I don't know. All I know is he was a mess. I think he was suicidal, but I'm not sure. Next morning, I knew I had to call him. I called him up, and he answered the phone. I was like, thank you, Lord, because, he answered. And I said, pal, I don't even know your name. And for all, we'll just say he said, my name's Butch. And I said, okay, Butch. And I said, you called me last night. And I said, that name's not familiar. He said, no, somebody gave me your card and said it's all right to call you. I said, yeah, that's good. You called. He said, I said, well, I don't know what I said to you. And he said, wow. Man, it was awesome. I said, okay. But I don't know what it was. But it was good. I'm telling you, you wowed me. I said, well, I'm glad I wowed you. I still don't know what it is. And he said, it was just really good stuff. I can't believe you knew and told me what you told me. And I said, okay, but I still don't know what it is. He said, well, I got to go. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay. So we was giving cards away over to Laurel's one night, and I told this same story, and this guy said, really? Called you at 3:30 in the morning, you didn't get mad? I said, no. I just give you a card and told you to call me. But he called you at 3:30 in the morning, it had to upset you. I said, no, it didn't upset me. Now, come on, man. Get real. It's 3:30 in the morning. I said, look, pal, you were upsetting me worse by talking about it than he did by calling. And he said, it was me. And I said, what's your name? And he said, Butch. I said, Wanda said, I said, it was you. I said, I apologize. I don't know what I said to you. Well, it was really good. I said, no, man, you got to tell me. I'm tired of it's really good. He said, and this is why I tell you, go out and talk to people. Talk to anybody. God will give you the words to say. He'll speak through you. Because he let me sleep that night, and he carried on the conversation. Because he said, I never one time mentioned a daughter to you. And you told me, your daughter's getting ready to have a little girl. You're getting ready to be a granddad. You have to be here to be the granddad. You got to be here to help raise that little girl. And he pulled his billfold out, and he was shaking so bad he couldn't hardly stand it. He said, ain't she beautiful? Ain't she beautiful? So let go, let God. He'll carry on the conversation. So don't say, I can't do it. Because you don't have to do it. All you got to do is be willing to step up to somebody. Love on them a little bit. I know we're getting close on time. Like I said, encourage people all that you can. We have made it to Asheville to the Cove about 2 months ago, month and a half ago, finally finished up our chaplaincy. So we're Billy Graham Rapid Response Official Chaplains. As soon as we get our cards in, we don't have our cards yet. Maybe they didn't like us. I don't know. Maybe they ain't going to send us a card. Who knows? But like I said, if you got something bound you up today, don't expect God to take it. Give it to him. That's what you got to do, is give it to him. Then he'll take it. If you look at a picture of Jesus knocking on the door, there's no doorknob. You got to open your heart and let him in. So you got to let him have it. Now, Wanda wrote me some notes and tried to look see if anything else she didn't want me to miss. I guess I didn't say this morning, our vision is to go anywhere, anytime, to be with anybody. I want to be in the courtrooms. A guy called me a couple weeks ago and said, he kept asking me what I was doing, and he said, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And I finally told him, I said, I want to do what I've been doing all morning. I've been on the phone to 8 different people this morning. I want to be in the courtrooms. I had a girl call me Wednesday, said she had a doctor's appointment Thursday, didn't have a ride. I went to Lebanon, got her, took her to the ride. I've took people to court. I've done this, I've done that. So that's what I want to do. He says, God know it? I said, of course he knows that he's God. But does he know it? I said, yeah, it's God. But have you told him? I don't guess I have. So now that's what we tell God every morning. We want to work for you. He says, it ain't time for Wanda to quit. I liked when he said that. She needs to keep working. And I ain't running off to quit. I'm just laid off. So I'm out here doing whatever he wants me to do. Maybe he wants me to fish sometimes, so I go fishing a lot. I mean, I don't know, but he always, he's got something. But I challenge you to get up out of the seat and go out and talk to people. If it don't have to be an alcoholic, an addict. It can be your next door neighbor, somebody you work with, somebody you fish with, somebody whatever. They're all out there. If any of us deserves it, which we don't, all of us do. We just need to look at it that way. We're all people. Everybody out there is, no matter what's got them bound up and tied up. So just love on people. I had a guy in Kentucky, he asked me, he said, we went to the jail, and he said, boy, I'd really like to do that. I said, what's that? He said, I'd like to go visit in the jails. I don't know nobody in jail. So I tell you what you do. Go over to the jail, go find out who's in charge of the jail, and say, look, I want to go visit the man that never gets a visit. Because there's a lot of people in jail that never get a visit. I said, you go and you tell him, say, I want to visit that man. And you go start visiting him. Leave your Bible at the house. Leave your necktie at the house. Only place, that I don't wear one, I appreciate that. Only place that says anything about a necktie in the Bible is when it talks about tying a millstone around your neck. And I don't think that's a good thing, so I don't go for necktie. But leave that at the house till you build that relationship. Then go in and talk to him and start telling him about Jesus. You got to build a relationship first. And so I'm going to give you 3 verses. We will do this as an invitation. Don told me to try to talk to as close to 5 as I could, where more people would stay here and eat. But if you want me to, I guarantee I can, because she'll tell you I can talk to 5 o'clock. I bounce around a whole lot, but give you 3 verses. And the first one is it's my favorite verse in the Bible. You know, it's Psalm, and I'll tell you my version of it. Psalms 139:14 says, I am fearfully, well, first it says, I am a masterpiece. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. What that means is God don't make junk. No matter what you've done, what you think you've done, you know, and a lot of the people that we minister to is, you know, they have sold their body for pills. And I tell them, you're worth more than that. You know, sell your body for a little bitty pill. But it's out there, and that's what's going on. I mean, it's unreal. But God don't make junk. He takes what we junk up, and he turns it back around for his glory. You know, he can get you did I think 8 years ago I'd be up in front talking to people? No. But I'll go anywhere I can go. Been North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, and they understood me in Ohio. Had to translate a little bit, but for the most part, they got what I was saying. John 3:16. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Well, my version says, for God so loves the alcoholic, the addict, child molester, murderer. Just insert it. Whatever you think that you have done that's too much, put it right there. He loves you that much that he sent his Son for you. And Matthew 10:33. And Willie Robinson stole that from me, but you know it says in red letters, if you deny me in front of me, and I'll deny you in front of my Father. You know, you got to make it public. And Brad Farmer does the thing, and we do it over at the Laurels a lot, and different places that we go and speak. If you go to get a hotel room and you call down to get a hotel room in Pigeon Forge, what do they give you? Confirmation number. If you go to call, get you an airplane ticket, they'll give you a confirmation number. You know, how great is it when you get to heaven if you can, God say, why should I let you in? Well, here's my confirmation number, 731-2016. It's all about that. So, you know, if you've had that relationship before and you've sort of slid over out of the way, you know, it's like when me and Wanda got together. I had this old truck, and she used to about push me out the driver's side door. I'd be driving like this, you know, she's pushing up against me. She loved me then. One day we was riding down the road, and she said, you know, we don't sit near as close as we used to. She's hanging out the passenger side window when she hollered it in at me. I said, I ain't moved. You know, God ain't moved. He's right there where you left him. Slide back over in the seat. A lot of people say, well, God's my co-pilot. Maybe that's what the problem is. Get out of the driver's seat, get in the back seat, and let him do the driving. Because he can take it. He will do it. And but if you've had that relationship, slide back over. If you've never had it, there's not a better day than July 31st, 2016, to give it to him. And we'll be up here, Don will be up here, and we want to pray with you if you've never had it. Altar's open. If you've got somebody that's on your heart that's, you know, because drugs and alcohol affect every family. Whether you want to admit it or not, because there's a lot of people that don't want to admit it. It's in every family somewhere. Maybe not immediately, but out the line. Come up here and leave it. Come up here and give them to God. Whoever it is, give them to God. You know, you're not worth it. You don't need the sleepless nights that you're going over all this, over these people. Give them to God.
Amen. Let's stand together, and Wanda's going to sing a hymn of invitation. The altar's open. If you're ashamed of me before men, the altar is open. If you're not as close to the Lord as you ought to be, the altar is open. If you don't know Christ as Savior, come and let me pray with you. Let Randy, one of our men, pray with you. But the altar is open. This is your opportunity. Take a stand. Lord, I'll be a witness. I'll go anywhere. I'll say anything. Take a
Number
stand
4.
for Christ.
I don't know what that is. That's not mine.
It's not the
Okay.
same
Pick that-
song we had
no.
this morning,
Nope.
is it?
That ain't it. Number 4.
Number 4. Join these others on the altar. If you can't kneel, just find a place around the front here. Let's just be honest with God, people. God has called every one of us to share our faith. There are people you're going to see this week I'll never see. People you're going to have a contact with I'll never hear from. So yes, Lord, here am I. I'll go. Whoever, wherever, whenever.
There he stands again, a piece of cardboard in his hands. Could you spare some change? Any little thing would help today.
Lord,
No one
speak to your
seems to
heart. Come on.
care as he stands
Lord, we thank you.
silently in prayer. God, would you please send one of your children by my way? She ran away, it's true. She'd be safer on her own. All of the abuse, she just couldn't stay at home. Now she lives beneath the bridge on 7th Avenue. She's not looking for a handout. She just don't know what else to do. What if it were you? What if it was someone that you knew? What if it was your child? Would you look away and drive on by? We should ask the Lord what He'd have us to do. What if it was you? No extra clothes and not a lot to eat. Sometimes it's cold, no relief from the heat. Daddy lost his job. Mommy tries to do her best. Together they teach their children all the promises in red. The Bible says we entertain angels unaware. We should look inside our hearts and ask God when and where to share. What if it were you? What if it was someone that you knew? What if it was your child? Would you look away and drive on by? We should ask the Lord what He'd have us to do. What if it was you? What if it was you? What if it was you?
All right, please just be seated. I'm going to ask our deacons to come forward and receive our morning offering. And then we are going to receive a love offering for Dash, but we're going to do that as we dismiss today. This is just regular church offering. Be praying about our gymnasium. They're going to put the roof on the gymnasium this week, and hopefully we can close everything out by the end of the month.
Well, let's pray. God, we just thank you so much for today. Lord, I praise you for Randy and Wanda. Lord, their ministry. Lord, at one point in my life, that was me. Lord, addicted to drugs, turning to the world. But Father, I thank you that you can pull us out of any situation if we'll just give it to you, King Jesus, and allow you to be Lord of our life. Jesus is the King of rehab. And God, I just pray for the families out here that have been affected by drugs and alcohol. Lord, that they would be a witness to them. And God, that they would bathe them in prayer. And Father, I just thank you for this church. Lord, thank you for these men here. And God, I thank you for providing for us. Lord, help us to be obedient in our tithes and offerings. Lord, just to taste and see how good you really are, God.